What's up YouTube, Nick here, and I want to talk to you really quick about stomach acid or hydrochloric acid. Now for those of you that know, low stomach acid is a major root cause or physiological imbalance that contributes to just about every digestive issue that you could think of. However, for those of you that do not know, hydrochloric acid is the important acidic fluid that lines the stomach that ensures that the proteins in your body are broken down, turned into amino acids, and are utilized for basically every cellular function in your body. Not to mention that the stomach acid or the hydrochloric acid also wards off pathogens, parasites, and any other potential pathogenic microbes that could get into your body and into your system and wreak havoc. So low stomach acid is a major contributing factor again to all of the digestive issues you could think of: chronic bloating, abdominal distension, indigestion, gas, fluctuating bowel movements from constipation to loose stool, etc. It also happens to be one of the major reasons that people are protein deficient and show signs of protein deficiencies. And because of the large prevalence of this issue, it's such a common issue for people. About 80% of Americans have some sort of digestive issue. A lot of people are also struggling knowingly or unknowingly with low stomach acid production, and I wanted to give you the secret, the tip, the untold truth about why stomach acid becomes low in the first place, and some very simple things you can do to start to build back up the stomach acid. So for those of you that have been asking me about this particular issue of low stomach acid and how to correct it, this video is for you. You'll definitely want to stay tuned. However, really for anybody struggling with any sort of digestive issue, this is going to be particularly helpful for you, especially if you've been on a low protein diet or a vegan or vegetarian diet and you're running into digestive issues. So if you want to learn how to build back up that stomach acid, come with me. So the best way to understand how to correct low stomach acid is to understand what stomach acid is in the first place. If we can figure out what this stuff is made up of and how it works in the body, we can figure out what might be depleting it and how to build it back up. So first thing, keep in mind that there are actually a lot of contributing factors to low stomach acid. Everything from stress to various nutritional imbalances to other factors will definitely contribute to low stomach acid. So I'm not going to get into every last causative factor. If you want to know more about every possible causative factor of low stomach acid, definitely check out my online course, Perfect Digestion, where I go into detail. However, in this video, I want to talk to you about one of the not so commonly talked about causative factors. In fact, probably one of the major reasons that people have low stomach acid today that nobody, again, is talking about. And it's such a simple fix, you will be dumbfounded when you figure this out. And it will be one of the best, most effective, and again, simplest ways for you to correct low stomach acid. Okay, so what is stomach acid? As I mentioned in the first part of this video, stomach acid is more correctly referred to as hydrochloric acid, meaning that it's an acid made up of hydrogen and chloride. So without hydrogen or chloride, your body cannot make hydrochloric acid or stomach acid. And here's the thing, your body needs hydrogen and chloride not just for stomach acid production, but every cellular function in the body. Your cells need hydrogen and chloride for many different cellular functions. And where do you get hydrogen and chloride? Well, looking first at hydrogen, hydrogen is in about every food that you can think of, but there are some particular foods that contain more hydrogen in them. And one of the most important hydrogen-rich foods is protein. Protein is basically made up of hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So without adequate protein intake, you're not going to be able to make enough hydrochloric acid. So one of the major reasons that people run into a low stomach acid condition is because they're greatly cutting their protein intake. You know, they've been told by vegans and vegetarians, you don't need that much protein, it's not essential, it's bad for you. However, that's an incredibly vague statement that looks over many different important factors, such as the different types of proteins and the amino acid balances between the protein food sources that you're consuming. Not all sources of protein have the same amino acid profile, therefore making some amino acids or some proteins more inflammatory than others. So to say that you don't need much protein is first and foremost an inadequate statement. It's not complete, and it's overlooking many important factors. The truth is, you need adequate protein for liver function and for, in this case, the production of hydrochloric acid. Not to mention that stress generally increases your requirements and needs for protein, and given how stressed most people are, most people could probably use more protein than not. Why do you think that athletes, people in bodybuilding, in the Marines, Navy, Army Corps, etc., all consume more protein than normal? Because they're incredibly physically stressed and they need that extra protein to cope. So one of the most important things that you need to do if you want strong stomach acid is to consume enough protein. But you do want to make sure you're getting the right proteins. Animal tissue protein can be inflammatory in abundance. However, certain cuts of the animal have different amino acid profiles, making them less inflammatory or non-inflammatory, actually in some cases making them anti-inflammatory. And there's a lot of plant and vegan sources of protein that are incredibly inflammatory. So to just group it into these two categories of animal proteins and plant proteins, again, is overlooking so many unique differences. So you definitely want to, number one, to build up stomach acid is to consume enough protein. You just want to make sure you're eating the right types of protein. So if you want to learn more about the right types of protein, the easiest to digest and metabolize proteins, definitely check out this online course for a full, in-depth overview of what I would consider to be a metabolically stable diet and learn how to eat correctly according to good metabolic function. So number one, again, is that you need adequate protein. And you see this so often when people go on low protein diets, their stomach acid production decreases. Not only because of demand, but because you need that hydrogen specifically to make hydrochloric acid. Number two, chloride. Where do you get chloride? From salt. Sodium chloride. Chloride is most abundantly found in salt. And guess what? Your body doesn't make its own chloride. If you do not get chloride from salt or from your diet, you will be deficient in chloride, resulting in the major deficiency that would lead to low stomach acid production. So without hydrogen and chloride, you're not going to be able to make hydrochloric acid. And what do you see most conventional medical doctors telling you to do? Go on a low salt diet. Cut out salt entirely. It's bad for you. It causes hypertension. First of all, no, it doesn't. Not only is chloride essential for the production of hydrochloric acid, stomach acid, the basic thing you need to digest proteins and protect your body from pathogens, but salt or sodium chloride is essential for coping with stress. It stops the stress response. It lowers adrenaline, aldosterone, and other stress hormones that could actually lead to hypertension. So it actually has the opposite effect. Good salt intake is inversely related with hypertension, high blood pressure, and all sorts of stress-related issues. But again, sticking to the topic of this video, without healthy salt intake, you're not going to be able to make enough stomach acid. So to conclude this video, the two basic things that you need to produce enough stomach acid is hydrogen, which you're going to find abundantly in protein-rich sources of food, but generally speaking, as long as you're eating a good whole foods diet, you're probably getting enough hydrogen. The real problem for a lot of people is they don't consume enough salt because they've been told that it's bad and unhealthy. So two of the major things that you're going to want to do is avoid low protein and low salt diets. You want to make sure you're getting enough good quality protein and salt, not just to produce hydrochloric acid, but for a lot of different important cellular functions. So there you have it. Two of the most important things that you need to produce hydrochloric acid that nobody talks about. So if you have digestive issues or the ones that I mentioned earlier, specifically chronic bloating and other signs of low stomach acid production, the two basic things I'm going to recommend that you do is increase your intake of healthy anti-inflammatory proteins that I talk about in all of my online courses, as well as your intake of salt. If you're on a low salt and low protein diet and you're having digestive issues, now you know why. But again, as I mentioned in the first part of this video, this is not all the contributing factors to low stomach acid production. Stress is another major correlating factor, and there are other ones that I talk about in my online course, Perfect Digestion, so be sure to grab that course if you are struggling with chronic digestive issues and nothing that you are trying trying is working. That course is loaded with tons of other information, very similar to this, information that is incredibly helpful that nobody tends to talk about in the mainstream. Anyways, that's it for this video. That's all I wanted to share with you. Hopefully you found these tips helpful. If you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here and you want to see more content just like this. If you are interested in taking any of my online wellness courses, or if you just want to learn more about them, be sure to head to my Wellness Academy in the description box below. Until next time, I'm Nick. Peace.